Silence the opposition is a sinful proposition. It's Rhyme and Reason 626.
There's a rhyme and reason for your life. There's a rhyme and reason why you're here.
Hey there, Tony here. And hey, shut up. Don't lie to me. You think I'm blind, but I've got eyes to see. Yeah, a lot of what's going on in America reminds me of those first couple of lines from Bonnie Raitt's song, Have a Heart. And it's not a direct correlation, but it's how my rhyme and reason brain works. What can I tell you? It connects that rhyme and those lyrics with how the ne'er-do-wells who practice to deceive would actually prefer to silence the opposition. Yeah, it's a lot of that that's going on right now. And right now they silence the opposition through a faulty system. But given time, you can expect them to escalate their strategy to include physical harm. Yep, and even death. That is going to happen. It does tend to happen, let's put it that way, if good people who know what God says about things would stand up in a strong, firm way. Maybe it wouldn't have to happen, but human nature is such that it tends to go that way, cycles that way all the time throughout history. And to most people, sadly, my assertions are, I know they're going to sound like paranoia or just some conspiracy theory. However, most people aren't aware of how human nature is basically deceitful and wicked. Yeah, I know those are kind of old-fashioned sounding words, but they're true. So the most despicable deeds throughout human history tend to repeat. And with the acceptance of the majority who don't learn from history and don't care to learn. Yeah, don't even want to. And that's how we arrive at this increasingly divisive point in America's history. Now, a lot of people talk about we need to unify and have unity and, all this division isn't good. This is a side note, by the way. Division is an excellent thing when you are going to separate yourself from those who would do terrible, despicable things. You don't want to unite with them. You don't want to unify with them. And, well, I hope you don't. I don't. I know most people who read what I write and listen to what I talk about, they don't either. And I'm sure you're one of those. But this is all through a system that actually encourages divisiveness. Yeah, that's right. Democracy encourages a divided nation. Or at the very least, it provides the means for that division. And like I've said it many times, it's crucial to remember how all the self-serving politicians were voted into their positions. There's that word again, voted. And if you're a Christian, you should make it a point to examine the Bible to see if voting is God's preferred method for establishing governments and authorities. Here's a spoiler alert. It's not. Even though I've mentioned how I'm not a Trump fan. Remember him? Trump? Some guy that was, what was it he did? Oh, yeah, President Trump. Yeah, that guy. I know what Congress is doing to him is evil and self-serving. And like all deceitful and wicked people who ever lived, they do it in the name of protecting you and me from bad stuff. But ironically, they are the bad stuff. Because they'd rather gain the whole world as they lose their souls than trust God and risk losing their temporary, tiny authority. That's what they would rather do. Okay, I read a quote from Harry Truman, of all people, a Democrat president, believe it or not. It's a real interesting quote. It's from a message he delivered to Congress on August 8th, 1950. And it was on the internal security of the United States. And it shows how far America has fallen in essentially one generation. And this is the quote from his speech that he gave. Once a government is committed to the principle of silencing the voice of opposition, it has only one way to go, and that is down the path of increasingly repressive measures until it becomes a source of terror to all its citizens and creates a country where everyone lives in fear. Whoa. Harry Truman, a Democrat president, said that. A Democrat now wouldn't think twice about silencing the voice of opposition, and they don't care that we're going down that path of increasingly repressive measures. They like the increasingly repressive measures. They repress increasingly. They love it. Why? Because it keeps you in fear. And when everybody's in fear, walking around behind masks because they're so darn scared of a little tiny virus, that's what you get. This is what we get. And if you haven't gotten the sense that America's citizens are currently living in fear of the government, you should pay attention to what that government is doing to Trump. Okay? Then ask yourself, if they can do it to him, am I truly safe? The answer is no, by the way. Now they misconstrue what you say. So I recommend that today, put your trust and faith in the way. I'll leave you with that. Until next time, this is Tony from TonyFunderburk.com on the Rhyme and Reason podcast, syndicated throughout the universe. Brought to you by TonyFunderburk.com. I think I mentioned that, where you can go over there to that merch tab and get that t-shirt that says, Life has rhyme and reason because God made you.
There's a rhyme